There we go. Is this better? Oh, it's out the picture? Yeah. I was trying to zoom myself in. I don't know why the zoom is not working. Weird.
Alright, everybody. You should be able to hear me. I hope you're doing well. It's good to... Wrong microphone. Good to see you. We are going to start in just about 5 minutes. We are working on kind of just making sure everybody's ready to go. I'll be running the studio. I need a little bit of practice, to be honest with you. So it's good to see you, though. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Daniel's going to be talking about his Super Signals, the Power Bundle add-on. He's going to do a great job. So see you in just a minute. We're about to ready to go. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming in. As you join us, make sure to like, subscribe. It helps a great deal. Today we do have a special presentation that's going to be hosted by Bobby, and Daniel Sinnig's going to talk a little bit about how he looks at the market. So I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. And we will be starting in just about 2 minutes here. Let's see. Some things that are coming up, just in case you're interested. Since I have about a minute to kill anyway, on Monday we're doing our final multi-session event of the year. It's called the Online Trader Summit. There's 8 great speakers. Not about, it's exactly 8. 7 of them are great, and then the other one is me. So we would love to have you there. We're kicking off with Vince Fora, a really great technician. We've got Jake Bernstein. We've got Tyler Wood, Alex Cole, and a whole bunch of other ones. So I'm going to put the link in over here, and you'll see it down there, or over here, or maybe over here. But I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat, and you'll be able to see it in just a few minutes. We are go for a start on time, so we'll see you in about a minute.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff. Hello, everyone. Once again, welcome to another MetaStock webinar. We're really excited for today's presentation. Today's speaker, he's no stranger to us here at MetaStock, Daniel Sinnig. A lot of you have probably seen him on with us in the past, talking about like his Power Bundle 360 system. And yeah, we're really excited to have him with us today to cover the newer super signals and a few other things as well. Before we dive too far into things, I do just quickly have to go through a disclaimer with you all. So if you'll bear with me while I attempt to load to the next screen. Oh, all right, let's try it this way. So today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading, and MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. MetaStock does not endorse the purchase of any security, nor are we paid for the promotion of any security, so no information contained in this presentation should be construed as investment advice or as a solicitation to buy any security. All right, and with the boring stuff out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and kind of just pass things over to Daniel and let you take it from here for the rest of the hour.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Bobby, for the nice introduction. And welcome, everyone, also from my side here from our office in Montreal. It is a cold day today. It's been cold all week. We have some snow on the street, but our office, fortunately, is nicely heated. All right. Hopefully, this presentation will also be heated in a sense, because I'm going to challenge myself today. And we're going to do some live market analysis. We want to see if we can find some trade ideas together, some setups together today by looking at what the market has given us. The market just closed about 2 hours ago, and I ran a scan, and it's still running, it's still finishing, and we're going to see what results we're going to get a scan results to see if we can find some interesting setups together. So that's going to be the objective today. And we're going to use all the tools that we have in our arsenal. Let me actually quickly share my screen if I can find this option. Give me a second. There we go. So share screen. Okay, perfect. So hopefully you guys can see my screen now. I'm also going to hide myself for the time or for the remainder so you can see everything on the screen. All right. So camera off. Okay. So we're going to use all the tools that we have at our disposal. We're going to use our cutting edge indicators, which come with auto optimization and an artificial intelligence, which predicts the odds of your next trade. So we're going to use those ones. We're going to use MetaStock's scanning capabilities to perform some very advanced scans. We call these Generation 3 scans to find symbols with signals. And then we're going to do some charting, some live charting analysis to see which of these signals are actually candidates for possible trade entries. So that's all going to be coming up today in the next hour. But before we get started, let me ease you into this topic. So wouldn't it be cool, guys, if you knew the odds of having a successful trade before entering into the trade? I think that would be pretty awesome, because if you had any means of telling, hey, if I take this trade, my chance of succeeding are 73%, and conversely 27% of failing, what would you do if you were able to see these odds? Well, I would imagine you would only take the trade if the odds are in your favor. And if they're not in your favor, you would stay away. You would not take the trade. And oftentimes, not taking a trade is the best trade advice that you can get. Well, guess what, guys? We have come up with a set of indicators which do exactly this. They're going to predict the odds of your next trade. You can use this information to time your entries, to figure out, should I actually take the trade or perhaps stay on the sidelines? All right, so I was on a Metastock event. I think it was the November Thanksgiving event about 1 month ago. And I used exactly the same technique to call out a trade idea. It was to go along Synopsys, ticker symbol SNPS. It's a NASDAQ stock. And I called out the trade here because it had a long entry signal on that day, on November 9th. So the entry price was around market price at 507 with a target of 548 and a stop loss at 466. And just about 3 weeks into the trade, this trade hit its profit target, and I was able to bank around $560 on that trade alone. It was very nice. And we called out this trade using Metastock's powerful scanner and our indicators, which gave the signal for that particular symbol. And the real funny thing is actually found that trade while being on vacation. I was on a cruise at the time, and I had internet on board, and I run my scan as I always do using the Metastock scanner. I picked up that stock, everything lined up, and we called out this trade during the Metastock event. And what we're going to do today, guys, I'm going to teach you exactly my process of how I look at the market, how I use Metastock and our indicators to find trade ideas like that one. And the quote scary thing for me at least will be I'm going to do this live and unrehearsed. So if I switch over quickly to Metastock, you can see that it just finished, which is perhaps just a couple of minutes ago. The scan just finished. I didn't look at the results yet. I start the scan when the market closed today at a bit after 4 o'clock. It just finished scanning, and we're going to look at these results live together, unrehearsed, to see if you can pick up any interesting trade ideas. All right, so that's what's on the agenda today. But let me quickly introduce myself. So my name is Daniel Sinnig, and I am a managing partner of tradingindicators.com, which is an online storefront for all kinds of trading products, primarily trading indicators, as the name suggests, but we also have fully automated strategies. We have trading dashboards, trading scanners, trading tools available on our site. What's perhaps a bit interesting about us is that, at least my story is a bit different from what you may hear from other trading educators. I actually spent a good part of my career as a professor in software engineering. I was teaching at various universities in Montreal, but also in other places like Germany. And I was teaching software engineering classes. But I was always fascinated by the world of finance and the markets. So I started trading on the side. And you know what? As a starter, back then, I made all the mistakes that you can imagine. I overtraded, I revenge traded, I took too much risk, I traded when market conditions were not right. And after donating quite a bit of money to the market, I came to the hard realization, oh man, trading is difficult and I need help. And for me, as a software engineer, needing help meant I need better tools which help me make better trading decisions. So I started programming. I rolled up my sleeves and I coded the first trading tools and trading indicators, which helped me make better trades. And this is exactly how the story behind tradingindicators.com started, because most of the tools that we have in our online store have been first coded for our own needs. And only when we saw these tools are actually useful, they're helping us making better trades, we put them on the store in the hope that you guys will find them useful as well. And this has been more than 10 years almost. And now we have clients all over the world, which is really cool to see. We have clients in Canada, which is our headquarters, in the US, in Europe, in Australia, Asia, South America, really all over the place. And it's been quite a journey. We cater to retail clients, we cater to trading educators, to institutions. And together, as a community, we have one goal: to become better traders together who make better trading decisions. All right, so enough about me. A quick reminder also from my side that if you trade, keep in mind that trading does contain substantial risk and is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is capital that if you actually lose it, it will not affect or should not affect your lifestyle. When it comes to hypothetical or backtest performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance. And of course, all the trades we're going to look at today, the trade ideas we're going to look at today, are for information purposes only. It should not be construed as trade advice. All right, so the lawyers are happy. Let's get started. Let me go back to the original idea. Is it possible to somehow predict the odds of your next trade before taking that trade? So can this be done? Well, the easy answer is yes, it can be done. It is possible to display, percentages on your price chart, or in case of Metastock, in the expert commentary for each symbol and time frame. It is possible. All right, so we can display these percentages. But now the real question is, of course, what are these odds actually telling me? Is there any insightful information in displaying these percentages? Because I just read to you, hey, hypothetical performance, and these odds are mostly, or to a good part, calculated based on backtest performance. Are these odds actually useful going into the future for your next future trade? Is there any meaning in those odds? So we asked ourselves the very same question to get to the bottom of this. And we conducted an extremely big case study, which ran almost an entire year. It was a swing trading system that we implemented, average trade duration approximately 1 week. And over the course of the year, it generated more than 6,800 entry signals, both long and short. And it was trading 84 big US stocks like Tesla, Apple, IBM, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and so forth. And the first version of the system that we looked at was, what if you would trade every single signal? So 6,827 signals resulting in 6,827 trades. So that was the first version we looked at, and this was the performance. Oh, scary, not very pretty, quite underwhelming. So this was not nice at all. But then we did something. We applied a filter to the system where we'd only take a signal when, at the time of the signal, the predicted odds were in our favor. And look at the resulting performance of that filter. All of a sudden, we did have a performing system, a profitable system, simply by applying this filter and simply by looking at the odds of the time of the signal. So we were not cheating to do this after the fact, because hindsight is 2020. No, we were looking at the odds at the time of the signal. And only if the odds were in our favor, we took that signal and it resulted into a trade. And if the odds were not in our favor, we didn't take the trade. And it was a difference of night and day. And this gave us so much motivation, so much confidence that there's actually some meaning in having these predicted odds on your chart in your expert commentary, that we decided to develop an entire suite of indicators based on that principle. So all of the indicators I'm going to show you from now on have this odds predicting technology built in. And it's using a form of an artificial intelligence, AI, to produce these odds. So we bundled up these indicators as the Power Bundle 360. And this bundle consists of 3 indicators: 1 indicator for trend trading, 1 for trading or finding reversals or pullbacks, and 1 for trading breakouts in a sideways market. And all of these indicators have our AI-assisted odds predicting technology built in. And we call this the Power Bundle 360 because we think by having, these 3 diverse indicators, 1 for trend trading, 1 for reversals, and 1 for breakouts, we cover really every, trading style and every market condition. So basically we do a 360 of the market. All right, so what are these indicators? Well, our first indicator is called 1, 2, 3 strike. This is our trend trading indicator. And it will give you an entry signal, a trend trade, so to say, when 3 things come together. We need to have directionality, so price needs to either go up or down for quite some time. We need to have an increase of volatility and an increase in volume. And if all 3 things come together, an entry signal is generated, which suggests that you can take this trend entry in the anticipation that the trend will continue in its direction. All right, so this is indicator number 1. Indicator number 2 in the bundle is divergence cloud, an indicator designed to detect and predict pullbacks and trend reversals. And for this, we actually went back to the drawing board and created a proprietary form of divergence, which we call volatility momentum divergence. So it didn't exist before. We we researched this topic of divergence, which is a popular topic in trading, and the divergence typically indicates a discrepancy between the price move and an underlying indicator. And there are many forms out there, like RSI divergence, MACD divergence, stochastics divergence. But they all seem to work reasonably well, but we were not really satisfied with it. So we researched this topic further and detected a relationship between price move and volatility. And if they disagree, this volatility momentum divergence occurs, either bullish or bearish, and the indicator will flag this to indicate that a pullback or a trend reversal may be imminent. Okay, so this is indicator number 2. And indicator number 3 in our bundle is what we call volatility crusher, an indicator designed to detect what we call strong breakouts. And in our book, a strong breakout is a breakout where price will continue in the direction of the breakout for quite some time afterwards. And you as a trader, you can take advantage of this by simply, in quotes, simply entering in the direction of the breakout. All right, so enough theory. And now without further ado, let's check out some charts. So I'm going to switch over to Metastock. All right, so where is my Metastock? There we go. And just drag this window out of the way. We're going to come back to this one later on. And let's look at this price chart. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, please feel free to put this into the chat window. And Nicholas, who's going to be looking at the chat, or also Bobby, they will bring these questions to my attention. So please don't be shy. The more the merrier, and the more interactive this workshop is, the better it will be. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Good question. It depends on the indicator. I'm going to comment on this as we go through these indicators. Yeah, because win rate is one thing, but just by itself, it doesn't mean that much. You also need to understand a little bit how big are my winners and how big are my losers, and this varies a bit from indicator to indicator. So I'm going to comment on this as we go along. All right, perfect. Okay, so let's look at our first chart, which is Pfizer. PFE on the daily time frame. And I went ahead and I've applied our 1, 2, 3 strike indicator to this chart. And the first thing that you can see is that some bars are colored greenish, so you can see here, or reddish. And this is done by the indicator, indicating whether we are in a downtrend or in an uptrend. So a green color for an uptrend and a reddish color for a downtrend. So that's the first thing the indicator does. The second thing that this indicator does, it will give you very precise entry signals denoted by these bigger green arrows. So a big upside arrow, a green arrow, is for a long entry into the trend, and a big reddish arrow is for a short entry into the trend. All right, so 2 things done. We color our price bars and we have these entry signals. But there's one more thing missing. Guys, entering into the trade is one thing, and that's of course important, but it is just as important to know when to get out of the trade. This is often overlooked, but managing a trade can be so important, and it can be crucial in your trading success. This is why all our indicators, they will also give you exit suggestions, and these are these smaller red arrows that you can see here. You can configure this in the settings. And you can tell the indicator, hey, give me 4 partial exits. So this is how this indicator currently is configured. So if you're a long entry here, for example, 1 partial exit here, another one here, another one here, and then our final exit up here. And the indicator will dynamically determine when it feels it is a good time to either book partial profits or close out the position entirely. So all our indicators have this, exit mechanism built in. Okay, but you may now ask, so what's this fancy AI stuff you talked about with odds prediction? I don't see any odds here. Well, in Metastock, you actually need to right-click on the chart and go to Expert Advisor and open up the expert commentary. So let me go ahead and do this. All right, what you can see here now is that, well, we have 2 numbers. We have what we call a long efficiency and a short efficiency, which are basically the win rates. Now, long efficiency at 57% and short efficiency at 61%. It may not seem very impressive, 57%, 61%, but for this indicator, what you need to take into account is that typically, since it is a trend indicator, our winners, if we hit a good trend entry, are much bigger than our losers. Let me give you an example. So here, for example, we have a long entry which worked out very nicely. So it captured a really big move. Here, a short entry, which captured another big downwards move. Here, another short entry. And here, a long entry. So this long entry didn't work out so well. Now price went perhaps up a little bit, but then declined. And then we had an opposing signal, a short entry signal in the opposite direction. At this point, we would close out the long entry and reverse our trade into the short direction. But look at how small this loser is. It's not very big compared to these big winners. This is what I meant. A win rate by itself does not tell you that much. You also need to understand how big are my winners as compared to the losers. This is why even with a long efficiency of 57%, you can be quite profitable. But it's not ideal. I'm telling you right now, this is not something I would like to see. And there's a reason for this. It used to be the case that, we were using the same settings for the indicator for every symbol. On every indicator of us, they come with a bunch of settings. But just because it's tedious to adjust these settings on a per symbol basis, we typically use these same settings, the default settings, for every single symbol we're using it on. But this was really not ideal. Wouldn't it be much better if we had optimized settings on a per symbol basis? Let me show you what I mean by that. For this, I'm going to quickly go to the settings of this indicator. Just bear with me for a second. It's going to go down here. This is 1, 2, 3 strike. I'm going to click on edit. And here we can see the settings. So let's see what happens if I change some of these settings. So maybe from 34, it's not so important what these mean. We have documentation for this, but this is just an example that I'd like to go through. Let's change this from 34 to perhaps 54. All right. We click OK. Close this up. We reload this chart real quick. Let's see what happens to our statistics. Oh, it changed. Now it's 60% and 61%. Oh, it went up. Maybe I should continue doing this. So let me go one more time, real quick to these settings. Bear with me. Maybe I should even increase this further, maybe to 74. All right, let's try it. Close it again. Reload the chart. There we go. Maybe it got better again. Maybe not. 63 and 59%. Somewhat similar, a bit better in the long direction, a bit worse in the short direction. But do you see how tedious this is? Going into the settings, trying to find the best settings for a symbol, it is tedious. And we realize this as well. This is something that I don't want to do on a per symbol basis. It would drive me nuts. And this is why in the latest generation of our Power Bundle indicators, we have developed an auto optimization feature, which will find the best settings automatically for you. Let me show you how this works. So again, right click on the chart. I'm going to remove this old generation of the indicator, detach, and I will apply the latest generation of it. All right. So going down to tradingindicators.com, I'm going to use 1, 2, 3 strike AO. AO stands for auto optimization. So I'm going to apply this to the chart. All right. It will take a slightly bit longer to load because now a lot more things are happening in the background. But look at the quality of the signal that you're getting now. And this is possible because this indicator is now using optimal settings. Look at this beautiful short entry, which we just had recently. Well, recently in October, which is working out beautifully for Pfizer. And let's look at the odds. 75% and 80%. It's much better. And this was possible because now we are using optimized settings. And the real cool thing is, guys, whenever I change symbol, whenever I change time frame, the indicator will automatically re-optimize its settings for you based on the new chart at hand. This is such a cool feature, and it's it's been so popular with our users that from now on, I will only use the auto-optimized version of these indicators. I'm not going to use the one where this auto-optimization feature was not built in. Okay.
Daniel.
Yes.
I'm going to interject here with a question from Richard, and I think the answer might be that this has kind of changed since you got this optimized version. But he wants to know those filtered settings you were showing before, filtered results from the system. Which year did you use to form the basis for the data to create these trading systems?
Oh, for the case study. Okay, that was that's a good question. I have to go back to my books to see exactly what it was, but we looked approximately back at 1,000 bars to calculate these the odds to calculate the odds for the signal, and then we took the signal if the odds were good. If not, we were not by approximately 1,000 bars. The reason why it's not more, 1,000 bars is like 3 years on a daily chart. The reason why we didn't want to go more is because trading conditions and market conditions change so much over time. And if you take into account, for example, 10 years and, generate the odds based on 10 years, the chances are that in the 10th year, market conditions are so different from what they were 10 years ago that, you're not going to get that much insight in these odds. So we suggest around 1,000 bars for your optimization period. And this is exactly what these indicators do as well. So they go back about 1,000 bars for the optimization and for generating these statistics. All right, so let's change pace a little bit. I'm going to go to a different symbol. Let's go Bitcoin. Anybody notice that Bitcoin has been moving quite a bit lately? So let's have a look. So this is Bitcoin, the same indicator applied. And let's see what we have for Bitcoin. And this is Bitcoin on the 15-minute chart. And I purposefully chosen the 15-minute chart. The indicator also works really nicely on the longer time frame to show you that our indicators, they not only work on daily time frames, and they not only work for equities, they also work for other asset classes like crypto or FX or futures. And you can use them intraday as well. You can see the entries exactly as they were for Pfizer. You get your long entry signals, you get your partial exit suggestions, and you get your odds prediction. So if I scroll down here in the expert commentary, you can see that for Bitcoin, on the long side, we had an 80% success rate, and on the short side, is 66%. And this tells me something as well. Not only that, so it basically tells me that, well, overall, it's been working out quite nicely in both directions, but the long direction actually has been more successful. And sometimes this is very important to know because, you may still like the indicator on that symbol and time frame, but perhaps you would not take its short signals because they have not been working out so good in the look-back period, whereas the long signals have been working out very nicely. So you can use this in your trading. For example, this short here didn't work out too well. We reversed the long one. Whereas the long signals here, if I look around, seem to have worked out very nicely in our look-back period. So it's just another thing that you can consider before making your trade. All right, so let's move on. Let's change pace a little bit. Let's go to our next indicator. So I'm going to go to window here, and I'm going to open up, which one do we take? Norfolk. So NSC, let me just quickly find it. There we go, Norfolk Southern. And in this case, I have applied, let me just quickly hide the expert commentary. In this case, I have applied our divergence cloud indicator to it. And here, things are a bit different. First of all, this is a completely different indicator. It's designed on a very different mathematical basis. So this is our pullback/reversal indicator. But what you can see when you look at the chart is that here also some bars are colored greenish, some bars are colored reddish, and some bars are just black. And this is when the indicator senses that we either have bullish divergence, and it's greenish, or bearish divergence, when it's reddish, or no divergence altogether. So you can see this by these colored price bars, but also by this ribbon underneath the indicator. And the way this indicator works is that you can only have a long entry signal when there is bullish divergence and only have a short entry signal when there is bearish divergence. And these are often signs that, a trend reversal is imminent. Look at this strong downtrend here. And then suddenly the indicator senses, we have bullish divergence. Maybe it's a good idea to enter into a counter trend entry. And look what happened afterwards. Then here again, we were bullish, then we get this short entry signal because we had bearish divergence and price moved down. We can see this time and time again. So this indicator is very well designed in finding these counter trend entries when previously a downtrend reverses into an uptrend or vice versa. And just like our 1, 2, 3 strike indicator, also divergence cloud comes with entry signals, but also exit suggestions. You can see these smaller arrows here. These are exit suggestions. And how many exits you want to get, you can configure this in the settings of the indicator. And of course, also divergence cloud comes with our odds predicting technology. If you open up the expert commentary, you can see down here what the odds have been on. In this case, very nice for long trades and short trades. Okay, so this divergence cloud, just maybe one more example of it, just to give you another stock to look at. Let's look at ConocoPhillips, for example. So let's try to find it. ConocoPhillips. Where is it? Not this one. There we go, all the way on the top. All right, here also we have divergence cloud. Oh, actually, this is 1, 2, 3 strike applied to the chart. Okay, I got confused. In any case, this is our trend indicator, which also seems to work very nicely for ConocoPhillips. But let me quickly switch this to divergence cloud, detach, and attach the proper indicator. And by the way, all our indicators are grouped under trading indicators. You can see this here. So trading indicators, divergence cloud AO. We applied to the chart. And now you can see that also for this chart. Oops, something just popped up. Bear with me for a second. There we go. Also on this chart, we can see that we have our long entry signals and short entry signals. All right, so let's move on. We have one more indicator to cover, which is called volatility crusher. And for this, I'm going to switch symbols one more time, and we're going to go to Accenture. All right, so where is Accenture? Oh, there we go, ECN Accenture. Let me open it up. Okay, so this indicator looks a bit different from the indicators that we've seen before, because this is our breakout indicator, an indicator designed to take advantage of relatively small price moves. So here the idea is that we have a breakout move, the breakout has occurred, and if it is a strong breakout and if things come together, the anticipation is that price will continue to move in the direction of the breakout for a bit longer. Not forever, not for a crazy trend entry oftentimes, but for a bit more. So this is why here, for this indicator, our targets are typically quite near the entry, because we're only trying to go for a relatively small move, and then we close out the trade. But this, it turns out to be quite successful in the sense that our odds, our win rates for this indicator are sometimes really, really high. Because we're going for a smaller target, and this can be achieved, of course, more often. So if I go to the win rates for this indicator, as you can see here on that commentary, you can see that, come on, this takes a little bit to boot up, and you can see that, there we go. All right, you can see here we had a long efficiency of 88%, and the short efficiency in our look back period was 100%. That means every single short trade that we've taken with that indicator worked out and was successful in the look back period. Now let me go back real quick to the question of what is considered a good win rate versus not such a good win rate. So for 1, 2, 3 strike and divergence cloud, typically winners are bigger than losers. So a win rate there of 70% I would consider very good, very nice. For this indicator, however, it is not the case. Here, sometimes our winners are a bit smaller than our losers when we get stopped out. So here, I'd like to see a win rate of at least 80%. For me personally, to be comfortable following this signal. And of course, there's so many signals I can follow, and I only want to choose the ones which are prime candidates for having a successful trade.
Daniel, do you mind if I jump in with a couple questions? We've got some piling up here. So we have a question from Sib. He wants to know, what is the logic behind selecting parameters? So when the auto optimization runs, what metric is it using to determine which configuration it's going to use?
Good question. It will use these win rates and it will optimize the settings so that they give you the best possible win rate. So that's the metric the optimizer is using internally.
Perfect. And another question from Richard. He has a couple questions here. We'll go through them. Number one, so if you took 1,000 bars from, say, 10 years ago, how do you know if the system will work today?
Well, you don't know with certainty, and this is always the conundrum that historical performance is not necessarily indicative of future performance. But the way we calculate these win rates, and I believe it's done in a way where it does have some telling in the future. And the reason why I say this is because we conducted this really large case study, not just with one stock or over like a short period of time. It was really a substantial case study for more than a year. We took 6,000 signals, various stocks involved. We traded both long and short, and that made such a big difference. So I believe there is some merit in these odds. And another reason for this is that because market conditions do not change all the time. They stay on for a bit of time. Eventually they will change, but they will stay on for some time. And when you dial in for a certain market condition, this is exactly what this optimization tool does. You can have some, confidence that, market conditions will continue and you will stay dialed in for these market conditions.
Thank you. And his next question is, what are some equity profits for year to year for the last 10 years?
Oh, that's hard to say. It depends on the symbols. I don't have the answer for that. But we do have simulations. You can simulate performance using Metastock System Tester, for example, to see what these would be on a per symbol basis. It also depends on the time frame that you're using.
Perfect. And we have another question from Sib. I think you sort of already answered it. How does it ensure the selected parameters are robust and profitable? And Daniel mentioned that the metric used is the win rate when it runs the optimization. That's how it selects the parameters. And the next question is again from Richard. He says, adding to his previous questions, what are the drawdowns?
Again, this depends on a symbol-to-symbol basis, and you would need to run some back tests to see the drawdowns. It also depends on how your position size, how much do you take off when you hit one target versus how much do you live in your trade, and so forth.
And these indicators also, I think it's a good thing to mention, Daniel, that they do come with system tests as well.
Yes, that's right. Okay. All right, so let me move on. So this was a quick overview of what these indicators do. But now let's get to the fun part. Let's see. Let me just quickly go back. Let's see if we can actually find some trades for today using these three indicators. So, all right. So a quick reminder, we've seen that all these indicators give you entry and exit signals. They really run on every time frame, the daily time frame as we have seen, but also on intraday time frames. And it doesn't really matter which asset class you use them on. They will run on all of them. They will come with our real-time statistics, allowing you to make informed trading decisions. And now they also come with our auto optimization technology. All right. So now, guys, let's find some trade ideas together, shall we? Okay. So very exciting. And for this, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to walk you through what I do on a daily basis to find trade ideas. All right, so this is super exciting because as you will see, this is something that everybody can replicate on your own. And what I do basically is I follow a 4-step process. Step number 1, I run a signal scan using Metastock. Step number 2, I open up a blank chart. No indicator on it, just to do some basic technical analysis. Just want to do an unbiased analysis without seeing the indicator on it. Third, I apply the indicator, make sure everything checks out, and then I time my entry and manage my risk. All right, so a quick word about scanning. Now, what Metastock allows us to do is what we call Generation 3 scanning, which is a very advanced form of signal scanning. It goes beyond plain old signal scanning. This is probably typically what you see out there, is where you can use a scanner to see if a symbol has an entry signal to the long or short side. But the problem with this is that, you may get plenty of signals. If you're scanning through 10,000 of symbols, maybe get perhaps 20, 30, 100 symbols of signals. But you can't trade them all. You can't even go through them all, but it would take too long. So how do you know which of these signals are actually more likely to be profitable? Well, with Metastock, you actually will see this information at a glance, because the scanner will show you directly in the scan results what are the predicted odds of that signal, which allows you to rank your signals. You can focus on the ones which have the highest odds, which will save you a lot of time. But it doesn't stop here. There's one more thing we can do, which we call generation 3 scanning. Typically, a scanner will use the same settings for every single symbol it scans through. Just basically, it's like one-size-fits-all scanning, which is not really ideal. But what we have achieved with the Metastock scanner is that the scanner will use optimized settings on a per symbol basis. So for IBM, it will use the optimal settings for IBM. For Tesla, it will use the optimized settings for Tesla, and so forth. And it really brings scanning to the next level. So let me show you how this worked. So back to Metastock, and I'm going to go to the control center to first of all show you how I set up the scan. So in Metastock, the scanning tool is called the Explorer. And I click here. And the first thing I did is I selected these scans that I want to run. And in this case, I wanted to run, this is typically what I do, I want to see which symbols currently on the last bar have entry signals. So I selected the signal scanners. You can see this SIG at the end. These are our signal scanners. And all our indicators come with these predefined scan queries. So I ran the one for 1 to 3 strike, I ran the one for divergence cloud, and I run the one for volatility crusher and super signal. We're going to talk about this in a second. All right, that's the first thing I did. The second thing I did is I selected which symbols I want to scan through. So I have my preferred symbols, and typically I focus on a bunch of German symbols because I'm familiar with them. The Dow Jones symbols, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ 100. That's just really a question of taste. The more symbols you select, the longer it will take to scan. And since I'm interested in swing trading, I also chose the daily time frame as my target time frame for the scan. And then I started it, and this took about, if I look at the results here, this took about 1 hour and a bit more than 1 hour to complete. And we scanned through 566 symbols for all our scans that we were interested in. So let's look together now. What are we finding? Did we find something interesting today after market close in our scan results? So we're going to start with 1 to 3 strike. So I'm going to select the scan query up here. And the second thing I do is I can see all the stocks in here, but of course not all the stocks have signals. So the first thing I do is I sort these signals, sort these symbols by the ones that actually have signals by clicking on these columns here. So long sig will sort this column by the symbols which have long entry signals. So we can see here, by this number 1 printed into this column, that 3 symbols, this one, and this one, currently have long entry signals. Great. Okay, so we have 3 symbols with entries. Now, the second thing I do right off the bat is I look what are my predicted win rates for this signal. You can see this here in this long IET column. There's another one here which has a slightly different meaning, but let's focus only on this long IET column here, which is the win rate for our long signals. And we can see here that CAG, for example, symbol CAG, has a win rate of 66%. Not ideal for, I told you before, I like to see 70% or more for 1 to 3 strike. So I'm going to reject this symbol right off the bat. I'm not considering it. Let's move on. Next one here is Merck. Merck has 75%. Oh, that's already much better. So let's see what Merck is all about. So next, what I do in our 4-step process is I open up the chart. Open the chart. Just click on the symbol here. It will then open up the price chart. Probably behind my, there we go, behind my window here. And we can see now Merck on the daily time frame. All right, so remember, this was a long entry signal. But the first thing I see when I look at Merck is, well, that stock, just by doing some very, very basic trend analysis, just by drawing some trend lines here, this stock is on a downtrend. Just move this down a little bit. So this is a downtrend. And we just gapped down this much. Do I really want to enter long into this stock? Just by doing some basic technical analysis, I would not be comfortable entering long here because, you know, we are going against the trend. And to me, it's a personal decision. I don't like to go against the trend for my trend indicator. I want to go with the overarching trend. So I'm going to reject this signal just by this, because this is a downtrend and I don't really want to enter long into this downtrend. Also, the stock gapped down quite a bit 2 days ago. So maybe not the best stock to trade. So, but let's move on. We have so many stocks to choose from. All right, so back to my scan results. And let's look at this one, Norwegian Cruise Line. Open it up real quick. Let's see what Norwegian does. Again, this is a long entry signal. But also for Norwegian, just by looking at it, guys, I don't know what you see, but I see what many technicians would call, I'll just draw these lines here, a descending triangle. That's a technical pattern. But for what? It's a technical pattern for a short trend continuation. It's a bearish pattern. So now, I also don't want to trade this symbol to the long side because I would once again go against the overarching trend. But it's okay. Let's move on. Next one. Back to the scanner. We're going to find something. I'm pretty certain. So no more long entry signals for 1, 2, 3 strike. Let's look at the short side. So now I'm going to sort my symbols for short entry signals. And we have one here, Devon Energy. All right, let's look at this one. So again, open chart. Oh, you can see the win rate is 71% for shorts. So it's borderline, but I think we can still consider it. So open up the chart. All right. And 1 second, click on it, open. There we go. All right, Devon Energy. So what do we see here? This perhaps is a bit more interesting. What do we see here, guys? I see, once again, a descending triangle. But this time, we're actually interested in going short. So descending triangle is our friend here. All right. So let's see what we have here. The only thing, this is good, we're in line with our trend. The only thing that I would see here, which would make me think just a little bit, is because we are approaching this support level here. Price has bounced off from this level a few times in the past, like in end of September right here, exactly at this level. Would I enter at this point into the short trade? Maybe not. I probably would like to see some follow through, some breakthrough throughout this support level, and then I may consider a short trade. So this is something it's like a borderline thing. I like the fact that we have a descending triangle. I like the fact that 1 to 3 strike, if I apply the indicator to it, will have an entry signal. Let's find it real quick on the last bar. So you can see coming up. I like the win rate at 75%. It's not too bad, but the fact that we are at this support level down here, I think I would perhaps not take this trade unless I see some follow through, some breakthrough to the support level. Then a short trade can be an interesting idea. But it's okay. Let's move on. We have more symbols to choose from. Okay, so this was 1 to 3 strike. Let's go and have a look at our divergence cloud signals. So once again, I will sort them, first of all, by long entry signals. So what do we have here? I'm going to try to make this fast. BASF, it's a German company. I'm going to open the chart real quick. Actually, with this one, yeah, the win rates are not too bad, 73%. All right. But once again, a downtrend. I don't even have to draw the trend lines here. This is, again, a descending triangle. Not interested. Ford. All right, let's have a look at Ford. All right, I guess Ford I had annotated previously. This was for a different presentation. Let me move this over. But also Ford, if you look at this one, we also have a descending triangle. Look at this. Just by combining these lines, and I don't know why they're yellow, this is once again a descending triangle. So going long here may not be the best idea. But okay. Next one, Garmin LTD. What do we have here? 78%, no, 91% to the long side efficiency. Oh, this could be interesting. Let's open it up. All right. What do we see here when this eventually opens? And by the way, guys, another thing, I'm just going to take away my, an alert popped up, just a second. It's going to take away the expert commentary, detach, and close the commentary. All right, so what do we see here? But this is also a downtrend, even though we did have a bit of an up move here. The overarching trend is down. So again, we would go against the trend and perhaps not the best idea. Metla Toledo. Open this chart. Here we had an 88% success rate. I'm going to try to see what we have here. Descending triangles. I guess many stocks are in a descending move. And Disney, real quick, but bear with me, guys. We're going to find something, I'm pretty certain. It's just a matter of being patient and not forcing a trade. And, you know, I do this on a daily basis when I look at stocks, and you get very fluent at it once you do it. More often, again, here I do see a descending triangle, and it's not something I would consider for a long trade, because once again, you would either go against the trend, and also this trend channel to the upside would act as resistance, and the long trade is likely to bounce off from that channel. Okay, but not to worry. There are plenty of fish in the ocean. Let me continue. So let's look at the short signals. What do we have here? Berkshire. Okay, big stock, but look at the success rate here, 57%. Not interested. Philip Morris also has a short signal, and 77% to the short side. So let's check it out. Open the chart. All right. Okay. This is a bit more interesting. First of all, once again, as so many times, we do have a descending triangle. I move this even a bit further. Something like this. Yeah. Okay. Let me apply the indicator to it, divergence cloud. So I'm going to go down to divergence cloud. I'll say, okay. Alert popped up. I'm going to click it. Just a second, guys. All right. Okay. So let's look at this a bit closer. This to me now looks interesting for three reasons. First of all, we do have a short entry signal. We are in an overarching downtrend, and we have some room to the downside, which is always something to be considered. Okay, so here I would potentially consider going short. And one thing I always do when I take a trade, I always like to see a bit of extra pullback to see that, hey, to get a better entry price, and to limit my risk a little bit. So perhaps a pullback to 92, maybe to this level around here, just to get a better entry price. Then we can set our stop somewhere on top of this descending trend line on top, maybe around 94, with a target of perhaps, I don't know, somewhere around this level here, at the lower end of this descending triangle. Why there? Because perhaps price will one more time bounce up from here. So this could be act as support, and price may bounce off. Perhaps it's wise to take some money off the table. Okay, so this is interesting. So what I do next? So I would actually consider this trade for myself. So then I do the homework. And I open up my Excel spreadsheet where I enter this trade information. So it's quite simple. This is my spreadsheet here. Again, these are my personal ideas and not to be construed as trade advice. So let's say, what is the symbol? Philip Morris, PM. Okay. Trade direction would be a short trade. Entry type, I'd like to see a pullback to a bit higher level. I like to enter by limit entry most of the time because it guarantees the entry price for you. you will get a fill at the entry price or better, which is not the case for market orders. So I would say I'm going to take a limit entry. Entry price around 92. Bit of a pullback. It's always wise to look for. My profit target, I probably would look at it at around maybe 89, somewhere at the lower end of this descending triangle. So 89. This is a short trade for my profit target. And my stop just on the top of this descending trend line. So maybe around 94.5 perhaps for my stop loss. Okay, so I'm going to enter all this information in. But knowing when to enter, where your profit target is and where your stop loss is one thing. But you also need to position size properly. Let me make this just a bit smaller here so we can actually see it. This is why I always take into account how much I want to risk from my equity, from my account. So let's assume I have $10,000 in my account, and perhaps I want to risk 5%, which is $500. So I need to choose my position size so that if I get stopped out, I will actually not lose more than my risk percent. So how much would that be in this case? It would be let me just remove this column here. It would be at 200. I could invest $200 into this short trade, and if I get stopped out, I would lose $500, and I could gain $600 if I hit my profit target, which comes down to a 1.2 reward risk ratio. So position sizing is important, and the way I have designed my spreadsheet, for example, is if I increase my equity, so let's say my equity goes up, it will automatically recalculate my position size accordingly, so that I will stay within my risk tolerance, which I typically choose to be around 5% of my equity account. Okay, so let's keep this open. We're going to move on to some other symbols, but this is an interesting trade idea. We're going to come back to this in a second. All right, so what else do we have? Back to the scan results. All right, Yum Brands also has a short entry signal with a 64% win rate. I'm also going to reject this one. The projected win rates are too low for this one. Okay, so this was Divergence Cloud, but we have one more indicator, Volatility Crusher. Let's check it out. So once again, I'm going to look at our long entry signals. All right, so a couple of longs here. We have American Airlines, all right, for long trades with a win rate of 75%. It's too low for me for this indicator because if you remember, Volatility Crusher does have a profit target which is a bit closer than its stop loss. So 75%, it's still a good win rate, but I think we can do better. So I would not consider this one. Let's move on to DR Horton Inc. Also a long entry signal and a win rate of 92%. Okay, that's more interesting. So let's check out the chart. Opening up the chart. All right. There we go. Okay. So this is a long trade. What do we see here? Well, right off the bat, I see an ascending triangle. So an ascending triangle is what? It's a bullish pattern. Okay, that's an interesting pattern. The only thing, once again, here for this symbol is that, it is approaching, one more time, this resistance zone to the upper hand. So what I would like to see also for this one is perhaps a breakthrough to this level. If it breaks through, I may enter into this trade direction. But again, we are very near resistance. So this is always something to consider before taking a trade, because price may bounce off from resistance and first retrace a bit. But overall, this is an ascending triangle. We're a bit close to resistance. It would be much better if we had a signal, a long entry signal, perhaps around here at the lower end of such an ascending triangle with a lot of room to the upside and a very near stop loss. Okay, but let's check out perhaps one more signal, and then I'll have to go back to another topic which is also important to be covered. So let me go back to the scanner. If I can find it. Where did it go? Here we go. Okay, back to the scanner. Okay, what else do we have? Delta Airlines also has a long entry signal with very good win rate. But I think also with Delta, I looked at this before, we are somewhat of a downward channel. Against, you would go against the trend. There's some room to the upside if price would bounce off these lower and higher support and resistance lines. But I think with Delta as well, I may reject this trade on the merits that we are overall in a downwards move trend-wise. All right, so guys, I think you get the point how I go through my symbols step by step. Once you get a bit of familiarity through this process, it's actually something very quick. And oftentimes I don't even draw my trend lines on it. I see it right off the bat. What is the situation with that symbol? Is this trade of interest or not? Are we near support or resistance? Does this trade have enough room? Are we trading in the direction of the overarching trend? All right, so let me quickly go back to my slides because there's something else I would like to cover. All right, so we looked at scanning, and I've shown you some very basic technical analysis that I perform when looking at the chart. So it's fairly easy to do. Everybody can see whether a price is trending up or trending down by drawing these trend channels, or there are some very basic patterns that I consider, such as an ascending triangle, which is a bullish pattern, or a descending triangle, which is a bearish pattern. All right, but there's one more thing, guys, which I really wanted to cover in this presentation. There's one last piece which can make a big difference. And this piece is what we call confluence. And we have developed an indicator based on the principle of confluence. So you may ask, okay, what the hell is confluence? Well, confluence is a phenomenon if multiple indicators are forecasting the same price move. So for example, if our 3 indicators, which I've just shown you, are forecasting the same bullish price move or the same bearish price move. If this happens, it doesn't happen very often, but if this happens, you're in for a nice treat many times. So we have to, here's an example of how this may work. Let's look at this chart here. So what do we see here? Just real quick. How we see up here a descending trend line. We see that an SMA 200, I think it's this blue line here, is acting as a natural area or dynamic area of resistance. We see that price after this downwards move has pulled back near our 61.8 FIB retracement level, which is oftentimes the maximum retracement before the downtrend continues. And we are overbought on the stochastics indicator. So multiple indicators are forecasting the same price move, the same downwards price move in this case. This is what's called confluence. Multiple things are pointing to the same conclusion. So we have developed an indicator called super signals, which is looking out for confidence of our power bundle indicators. So, and depending on what the degree of alignment is, what the degree of confluence is, it gives different types of signals. So you have bronze signals, which requires the least degree of alignment. They happen quite often. We have silver signals, which require more alignment. We have gold signals, which are very rare. When, for example, 2 indicators have an entry signal in the same direction at the very same bar, which is quite rare. And then we also have platinum signals, where we require that all 3 indicators do have an entry signal on the very same bar, which is super, super rare. But if it happens, you may be in for a nice treat. So let me quickly show you on the price chart how these super signals look like. So going back to Metastock one more time, and let me open up Pfizer again. We start with Pfizer, so let's go back to Pfizer. All right, so let me find it here. Where do we have Pfizer? There we go. Opening it up. We have our 1 to 3 strike indicator applied to it, but let me replace it with our super signals indicator. So detach. I'm attaching a new expert advisor. I'm going to scroll down to trading indicators. I'm going to choose super signals. All right. It's going to load up. And once loaded, you're going to see the super signals displayed on the price chart. All right. So what do we see here? All right. Yeah. Oops, let me just make this a bit smaller. Yeah, you can see quite a few Bronx signals, which require the least degree of alignment, but they can be very telling as well. You can see all these nice short signals would have worked out beautifully. But let me zoom out a little bit, see if you can see some other signals. Here, another Bronx signal, which worked out nice to the long side. Here, we had a gold signal. And look at the price move that followed suit after this gold signal. Here, Bronx signal that did not, well, it worked out a little bit. This short signal did not work out. This Bronx didn't work out. It happens, of course. Here, a beautiful Bronx signal to the short side. Here, one to the long side. Here, a silver signal to the long side. And these signals were generated based on the principle of confluence. And the beautiful thing about this is that you can use the Metastock scanner to also scan for these super signals. And this is exactly what I had done in our scanner. For example, if I scan or bring back in the scan results, go to super signals here, we can see, for example, if I sort by Bronx long signals, for example, that we have a couple of Bronx entry signals. Norwegian Cruise Line, for example, something that we rejected when we looked at 1, 2, 3 strike, but it does have a Bronx entry signal. So perhaps we can have a quick look at that one. Let me just open it up, see what we have at Norwegian Cruise Line. I believe I annotated this previously. Let me attach our super signals indicator to it. All right. And let's see what this chart looks like. But keep in mind, this is once again a long signal. And we do approach, as you can see here, this upper end of the descending triangle, which is a bearish pattern. Again, I would take this with a grain of salt, just because we are near this resistance zone. But let me go back one more time. Let's see what we have in terms of silver signals. Nothing there. Oh, we forgot about Bronx short. Do we have a Bronx short signal? Oh, Philip Morris, also short. That's interesting. Remember Philip Morris? The stock that we picked up because it had a short signal for divergence cloud. It also has a Bronx signal at the same time. That's of interest. Let me quickly open up the chart for this one more time. All right, so here we had our short entry signal for divergence cloud. Let me replace this indicator by attaching our super signals to it. There we go. And let's see what we get. So now this makes this case even more interesting. So we're not only having a short signal for divergence cloud, we are in a downtrend. We have plenty of room to play with, and we have a fairly nearby stop loss. So all these things are adding up quite nicely. And now we also have a Bronx short signal. So yeah, guys, I think by looking at this stock, this could be, at least for me, again, this is not trade recommendation by any means, but this could be an interesting idea for a short play of Philip Morris. But I still would like to see a bit of a pullback. And the reason for this is because I like to get the best possible entry price. I don't like to chase anything. And oftentimes, if you have patience, you will get a bit of a pullback, get a much better entry. You have less risk on the table and a better risk-reward ratio. All right. So yeah, that's interesting to see that we do have a Bronx signal for Philip Morris in addition to a divergence cloud short signal for this particular symbol. All right, so these are our super signals. Now, you may ask yourself, oh, actually, there's one more feature with our super signals indicator. I forgot to mention it. You also have the possibility to create your own super signal. We call this BYOS, build your own super signal, where you can define the conditions that need to line up for a signal to be generated. So you can mix and match your conditions as you like. We have, these 3 predefined conditions for Bronx, silver, gold, and platinum built in, but you can also build your own super signals with this indicator. So it's very flexible in that way. And best of all, you can then also scan for your own custom super signal. All right, so guys, if you're wondering, are these indicators for me? And I know I talked a lot and I perhaps talked a bit too much, but if you're still wondering, are these indicators for me? I can assure you that it doesn't matter whether you are a day trader, a scalper, or a swing trader, or an investor. These indicators, they will work on all time frames, not just the daily time frame. They will work on the intraday time frames as well as the daily time frame. These indicators will also work on any asset class. So it doesn't matter whether you trade stocks or FX or cryptos or futures. These indicators will work on all these symbols and asset classes. And if you believe, like me, that good tools can make your trading life so much easier, so you can focus on the important things, then these indicators are definitely something you should consider, especially in combination with Metastock, because Metastock has this amazing scanner which allows you to scan through thousands of symbols in a fairly short period of time. It allows you to do generation 3 scanning, which will use optimized settings on a per symbol basis and will show you the win rates directly in the scan results, which is super handy. All our indicators also auto-optimize, so you don't have to fiddle around with these settings yourself. They will find the best settings for you. So this will do a lot of heavy lifting for you that you don't need to do anymore. So you can focus on making insightful trading decisions. And I use that time that I now have on my hand to do a very quick technical analysis, which I do manually, simply by drawing these trend lines and trend patterns onto the chart to make sure that I'm trading with the overarching trend and this trade has enough room and my stop loss is fairly nearby. And that's all I do. I like to keep it simple. And this allows me to find trade ideas in a very quick manner. So just like what we've done today. All right. So guys, as a special thank you for staying on so long with me and listening to me talk and going through all these symbols, I know this can be a bit tedious to you. We have something special prepared for you. So thank you. So normally, the power bundle indicators for Metastock, along with our super signals package, they cost $2,495. This is a lifetime license. This is a one-time payment. And this would include, or this does include all our super signal indicators, our 1-2-3 strike indicator, our divergence cloud indicator, or volatility crusher indicator. It also comes with our win rate prediction and optimization. And of course, you get all the predefined scan queries, you get the system tests and everything else that Metastock has to offer. So, but we're not going to give you this package for this price. We have a special price for you. That's a thank you for being in this workshop. We are, oops, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, we're going to cut down this price from $2,495 to only $997. This is also a lifetime offer for $997. But it doesn't stop here. We will throw in 2 bonuses. Bonus number 1 is our trend radar indicator. I haven't even talked about this one yet, which typically retails at $299. And you're going to be invited to our members only trading session where we do live market analysis, where we're going to offer you tips and tricks for our indicators, for Metastock, for other platforms every single week, which typically costs $997. We're going to give you these 2 bonus offers completely for free. So you're going to save $2,789 if you take advantage of this deal, but it is a limited deal with a limited time stamp on it. But if you want to take advantage of it, all you need to do is go to tradingindicators.com, which is our online store, /MS, and MS stands for Metastock. So tradingindicators.com/MS to check out this deal. And I know that Bobby will throw in also some perks that come from Metastock's side into it. Maybe Bobby can elaborate on this in just a second. But let me quickly talk to you a little bit about Trend Radar and our members only trading sessions, which are the 2 free bonus offers that we're going to throw in. So Trend Radar is a very handy indicator which allows you to see at a glance what is my short-term trend, medium-term trend, and long-term trend doing. And it is especially useful for finding what we call pullbacks. If you're a trend trader, a pullback is your best friend because nothing is worse as a trend trader to chase a trend, to enter into an overextended trend. You don't want to do this. Instead, you want to wait for a pullback, for price to go down, then you enter, in the anticipation that price will continue in the direction of the trend. And this indicator allows you, among other things, to find these healthy pullbacks very easily, simply by looking at this heat map below the price chart. For example, here we have an overarching bullish trend. You can see this by the fact that everything here is very greenish, but every once in a while we get these reddish areas here, which are indications of pullbacks. And these are opportunities for you to enter in the direction of the trend. And will give you a much better entry price, which much less risk on the table because you can put your stop loss much closer. We're also going to throw in our exclusive trading sessions, which are happening every single Tuesday at 12 p.m. So we just had one 2 days ago. They are happening every week. And of course, if you cannot make it, all these sessions are recorded. And in these sessions, we will walk you through tips and tricks. We will look at live market analysis. We're going to show you how our indicators work on Metastock, on other platforms. And we're going to, of course, also answer all your questions that you may have. So this is really an outlet for you, an opportunity for you to ask your questions, to learn tips and tricks, and to become better traders. All right, so these are the 2 bonus offers. And once again, if you want to take advantage of it, simply go to tradingindicators.com/ms. All right, so here it is again. And maybe, Bobby, do you want to perhaps quickly expand on what Metastock is throwing into this offer as well? If Bobby is still there, maybe not. If not, maybe Nicholas, are there some questions that popped in?
For sure. So Vincent wants to know, is Supertrend Bullseye coming to Metastock?
Yes, there's a very good possibility for that.
Perfect.
Sorry.
And we have another question. Sorry, go ahead.
You can go ahead and finish with the questions. I got my mic unmuted for after.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I just have one question here, which I think is from Sib. He wanted to know, okay, you have optimized win rates. How do you know it's a profitable system? Because like you mentioned, Daniel, the gross profit can be smaller than the gross loss, even though you have winners.
Yeah, that's where your judgment call comes in. So once again, for 1, 2, 3 strike and divergence cloud, on average, and we see this time and time again, winners are bigger than losers. So you can be assured that with a win rate of, I would say 60%, you have a profitable system. But since there are so many stocks that you can scan through, and you don't have to settle for 60%, I personally go for at least 70%, just to, add even more odds into my favor. For Volatility Crusher, winners are oftentimes a bit smaller than losers. So there, I'd like to see a win rate of at least 80%. And this is mostly by experience, because I have a very good feeling about how the indicators behave. But these are my internal benchmarks that I'm using for trading.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think we got to all the other questions by text already, so you can continue.
Yeah, great. So once again, guys, if you want to take advantage of this limited time offer, simply go to tradingindicators.com/ms. This will redirect you to a Metastock page where you can see all the details about this offer. And you can even see what Metastock will be throwing into this package as well. And maybe, Bobby, do you want to quickly elaborate what that is?
Yeah, happy to do that. So having the system on Metastock, you would have to have a Metastock subscription with us, but we're willing to give you guys a free trial. So whether you want to get on our end of day version or our intraday real-time version, we'll give you a free month access to that. We also have some promotions going on with our data as well, and we will include extensive training on the Metastock platform as well. So that not only are you able to utilize, Power Bundle 360 and Super Signals, but we'll teach you the ins and outs of Metastock itself. We even offer a free one-on-one session where we'll do an entire walkthrough of the software with you, kind of showing you how to set up your charts initially, how to run your scans, utilizing, these trading systems, and just make sure you're entirely comfortable with the platform. So don't let yourself be overwhelmed if you think there's a lot going on or too many things you have got to learn, we're here to support you 100% of the way. And we'll offer all of that additional support at no extra cost to you guys, plus a free trial of Metastock if you need it. Or just to alert you of the pricing, you can get a subscription that includes data for as low as $69 a month.
Awesome. And this actually brings up a very good point. If you're overwhelmed and you wonder, oh my God, how can I possibly understand all these indicators? Don't worry, we have extensive training material for our Power Bundle and Super Signals packages, including a masterclass, various webinar recordings. We have documentation, and of course, we have our Tuesday exclusive sessions where you can get all your questions answered. All right, guys, so without further ado, so one more time, a reminder, if you want to take advantage of this Super Signal special for $9.97, and this is for life, simply go to tradingindicators.com/ms, and the link has also been posted into the chat section. If we didn't get to all your questions, or if you have any outstanding questions and you didn't have time to ask them, no worries. You can simply email us at info@tradingindicators.com. or go to our homepage, tradingindicators.com. On there, you have a contact form. Simply put your questions into that contact form. It will go straight to my inbox, and I make sure to answer all your questions because, this is really what drives our business. Your feedback, your comments, your suggestions has been taken into account so many times already to advance our products, to make them better trading products, which benefit us in our trading, but also in turn will benefit you guys in your trading. And perhaps one more comment, rest assured that these are live products. So if we update them, if you add new features to it, since you have a lifetime license, you will also be privy to these updates as part of your lifetime license. All right, guys, so without further ado, let me thank you for staying on so long. I know your time is precious. It is quite late already for most of you probably. So I wish you all a great evening and happy trading. And let's see how these trade ideas, let's see how our Philip Morris trade will pan out. I'm going to double check when the market opens tomorrow what's going on and then potentially put on that trade. All right, guys, with that, happy trading and see you all soon. Bye-bye. Thanks, Bobby, for hosting.
Thanks. Yep. Bye.
Hi, Kelly Clement here from Metastock. Before you go, I have two quick things for you. One, thanks for joining us today. We love having you here at our webinars and viewing our videos. So what I'd like to invite you to do before you go is like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps us a great deal and it helps us bring you more awesome content like today's video. The second thing is we have a great ebook on trading that you can get for free. If you go to metastock.com/YouTube book, you can get a free copy of The Secrets of Successful Traders. It's a great book with lots of content from traders just like yourself who can teach you some of the secrets that they have learned. Thanks for taking a second with me and learning about those two things. Thanks for joining us and keep on trading.